We hope to gain valuable insights directly from the Mayor into Kuala Lumpur City Hall's strategic plans for sustainable urban development. Our members also hope to explore opportunities to collaboration with the City Hall to support Kuala Lumpur's transformation into a digitally integrated, low-carbon and inclusive urban hub.
It's a privilege for me to moderate today's conversation with Datuk Sri TPR Dr. Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, the 15th Mayor of Kuala Lumpur. Datuk Sri brings with her a remarkable blend of both local and global experience. She trained as a town planner with degrees from the University of Wales and a Master of Science in Planning from University Science Malaysia. And also in recognition of her global leadership in sustainable urbanization, she was conferred honorary doctorate in the built environment by the International Islamic University, Malaysia. She has spent much of her career in local government, and many of you will know her as the former Executive Director of UN Habitat, where she championed sustainable urbanism on the world stage. Since returning to Kuala Lumpur as Mayor in 2024, she has already set in motion a number of important initiatives. Among them, and some of us here are very much involved in this program, is Warisan KL, which is an ambitious program to revitalize our historic core and re-energize heritage precincts. Furthermore, her firm commitment to protect the city's green lungs and open spaces, ensuring they remain safe from encroachment. The introduction of Madani housing policies and pushing for 40% affordable units by 2040. And a strong focus on zero waste and circular economy programs, including recycling, composting and biodiesel. These are but a few of the initiatives and the programs that she is driving. She has also placed emphasis on inclusivity, from a safer public spaces for women and to creating more livable and lovable city for all of us. So today, our discussion will touch on heritage renewal, green mobility, digital transformation, climate resilience, and of course, livability. These are not abstract issues. They affect how we design, how we build, and how we experience Kuala Lumpur every day. With that, it's my great pleasure to invite Datuk Sri to share her opening reflections before we dive into our first theme. So, Datuk Sri, if I can welcome you to the armchair.
Actually, many people thought that I'm from Penang because I spent nearly 40 years in Penang. But actually, I'm from a small town called Kuala. It's only 1.5 hours from here, and it's a small. It's from the village. My mom was the rubber tapper. My dad was a rubber tapper, and I used to plant paddy. I used to, to walk to school. So why I started with that. And then from that simple background, living in the village, I think at that time, I'm already experienced and implementing and practicing sustainability. Without knowing that only in 1985, that, sustainable development goal, this and that. So I think at that time, because at that time, we know about, now we have to buy mineral water. But at that time, I took the water from the well, from the groundwater, and just drink it. I don't need to boil it. So I think that when I look back, I think that is from my background, that's become the basis of what I am now, because I believe in sustainability, I believe in sustainable development. And then that is, at that time when we talk about rivers, now we talk about nature-based solution. But at that time, my mom and my dad is already done the river nature-based solution, but it's not in that language. So I think these are the background, the experience, which also brought me to Penang and then to UN for 6 years. And then I'm so fortunate to hit the UN Habitat with dealing with human settlement, dealing with sustainability, and at the same time I'm also the UN Habitat, actually the Executive Director of UN Habitat is also the pen holder for reporting SDG 11 to the General Assembly. And also we are also to the pen holder to report the implementation of the new urban agenda, which was approved in Quito in 2016, and next year will be Kyoto +10. So, and I came back to Malaysia, and then I have an opportunity to retire for 4 months before I received a phone call from the Prime Minister to ask me to be the mayor of Kuala Lumpur. So here I am, and I'm already 1 year plus, and then I'm ready to share with you about the Kuala Lumpur, and I think I'm also fortunate that I start local, then I went global, then I came back local but in the capital city. So I think that is the loop, this close the loop. So I stopped there, and I will try to answer or any questions that you ask. If I cannot answer, then give me your email, then I give you the answer through the email. Thank you so much, Martin. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dajashri. What I'd like to understand is perhaps you can give a little bit more understanding about the Warisan program and how many buildings are involved, and then in future, do we expect or anticipate more government directive and support in the active restoration of our historical architecture in Malaysia?
I think how can we bring up the vibrancy of Kuala Lumpur? And at the same time, the government is already spent quite a lot of money on the River of Life project, which I think that is good project, but we need to activate, we need to put more activity, meaning that how can we bring life back to the inner city? That's the same as experience when I did it when I was in Georgetown. And I have the opportunity also to travel when I was at the UN. So then we had a discussion, and then we said that we need to revive Kuala Lumpur, but not as a museum piece, but as a living museum. Because we are fortunate that we are very diverse in terms of community, in terms of food, in terms of culture, in terms of heritage. And then at the same time, when I came in, BBKL in the midst of preparing the local plan. This is the best time to include in the strategy of the heritage strategy in the local plan. Because in the planning system of Malaysia, almost the same as in British system. We have the structure plan, then we have the local plan. Structure plan at the state level, and then the local plan at the very local last level to all the. So I think this is the important time. It's very timely for us to include heritage. That's why we work together with Khazanah. Khazanah allocated 600 million for 20 kilometers square of heritage area, where if you go to the ground, you can see that Bangunan Sultan Abdul Samad is in the middle of the conservation and refurbishment, and then at the same time, Sri Negara and Sri Kakosa will be open for the ASEAN end of this October. At the same time, on our side, on the DBKL asset, we have the Dataran Merdeka and also the underground car park, and all that area. You can see that from the confluence of the Sungai Gombak and Sungai Kelak, and all 20 kilometers square is already launched, considered in the local plan and gazetted as a heritage Kuala Lumpur. So that is whatever that in building that area, they have to follow the guideline. But at the same time, when you talk about conservation, it doesn't mean that you deny development. But we encourage development, but of course it's something that is aligned with the conservation guidelines. So these are why the conservation or the heritage Kuala Lumpur comes out, and you can look at the local plan. They are very, very detailed, and we have come up with the two steering committee, one chaired by the minister and the technical committee chaired by me. And we already prepared the master plan for the heritage Kuala Lumpur.
One of the key areas that we see globally is the transformation of sort of old building stock into urban residential. And I'm wondering if there are any initiatives by the government that can support that sort of transition Because typically the reasons why it doesn't happen is either through government requirements, for example, car parking or change of use, and also, of course, financial feasibility. So is it something that is on the government's agenda, how we can improve and increase residential inner city accommodation, but also the transformation of a lot of I'm not talking about listed buildings, but old stock which is vacant.
And we identify at the moment around 111 building that is ready for to certain extent for additive reuse and repurpose. And I would like to bring to your attention that DBKL, we already had at least one building when we had a pilot. We turned the office building into micro housing. If you go to Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman, just opposite my office, there is a building, and we have if I'm not mistaken, 150 unit micro housing where is for the people who are staying in the inner city and also working in the inner city. At the same time, they have the various category, and mostly for the single and then maybe newly married couple, and they have the facilities, and they have also the laundry and all that. And then this is our first trial, and I think there are a lot of demand for that. Until now, people ask us, do you still have your micro housing? So we had a small group. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we had a small group when we had a discussion together with those like-minded business and also the politician, Bobby Liu Chintong, and also the Ting City, and a few colleagues. So what can we do in this inner city where there is a hollowing, there are a phenomena, because for example, like the Maybank building, they already moved out from the very big building in the inner city. And then what can we do? So now, we at the BKL, we are finalizing the guideline on adaptive reuse. We are encouraging, we are also giving incentive. So meaning that if you have the public transport next to you, we can also giving an incentive not to, normally we have to provide so and so many car park, but now you can reduce the car park, meaning that what we can do is now we have to look into the first mile and the last mile in terms of the seamless connectivity. And then at the moment, if you look into this, when you talk about the private sector just now, we encourage private sector to come, because, well, there are many also private building, not only the government building, and there are already movement. There are many private sectors coming in and ask us how to invest. And at the same time, I also introduced the principle of 4P, public, private, people partnership. Public, and we, the BKL, will encourage, we will facilitate. We won't frustrate your investment, we will facilitate. We want to be the facilitator. And then the private sector, we are encouraged to come in, and we are preparing the guideline at the final stage, because now the guideline is being discussed at the various groups, so get some feedback. And then is that we need to bring back the people and the youth. Then I think there is a movement at the moment now bringing back the youth, and I'm also giving them some incentives, some contribution for them to do their program, and also to invest in the area. And for the plan, for the Warisan Kelompok, Heritage Kelompok, we have 10 flagship program. And not only by the BKL, by Ting City, by the private sector, by the community, and we already presented to the community, and each of them will take charge of this 10 flagship program.
So so that we don't leave you guys out, I'd like to open the floor just for one question. Whilst we're keeping on this topic of heritage and urban renewal, anyone that has any question from the floor? Yes, first hand up.
This question came to mind when I saw the Odeon, one of the few Art Deco buildings. I hope Odeon KL is one of your recent protected. Yeah, but what if the owner decided to sell the land, and is there any way of safeguarding that?
Yeah, in the plan, the Western Lumpur plan, the master plan, we have the category of buildings. There are buildings under the Heritage Act. That's category 1. You cannot demolish it. There are also a category where you can do the infill, or you can do the adaptive reuse, or maybe the category that is very bad condition. Then maybe you can demolish, but you have to have certain design that you have. When you build, when you design a new building, you have to follow the design. But it's not that easy to just demolish, because we have to go through the process of identifying why you want to demolish, and then you look at the history of the building, and then you have to look to the category of the building. So we have a very clear guideline about that.
And I realize as we work a lot with heritage buildings that it's often in kind of rundown areas, and the streetscape around is rundown, or the neighbor might not be, so you invest a lot but your surrounding is not great. And we actually have aspirations to also kind of upgrade all the streets around it. So I guess my question is, how can the private sector quickly since we're kind of very in line with your city plan, is there a way that private sector can actually expedite these kind of revitalization efforts, especially if it's at the private sector's cost?
Oh, please. I really welcome that. I'm really looking forward, because I met just one example. Then I answer your question. I met the UOB CEO Ng Wei Wei, and I said that come to my building. I said that I'll show you my building. So I went to the building. It's so beautiful. Then I looked out from the window. Wei, can we do something out in this area? I said, yes, of course. I want to do something. I want to clean up. I want to spruce up this area. Immediately we form a task force, and now we are already on it. So maybe that is first. And then now the second one I'll do with you. Why there? I'm really looking for a partner, because if you look at the inner city, we already started doing cleaning up together with Pink City. There are many areas in the inner city. We already spruce up the back lane. We clean up the back lane. We put up mural. We put up plants, and at the same time we green the area. And if you go into a few coffee shops. And then last time the back lane is so bad, but now it's the new generation, they likes that type of a bit hippies and healing places along the back lane. It's very clean. Then I really looking forward. I really appreciate if you want to join with us. Then I have the one team. I set up one team on the urban design team for the heritage we set up the unit Warisan under planning department in DBKL. Just set up, I think, from the beginning of this year.
So before we close on, I'm just cognizant of our time, before we close on or we move forward from the topic of heritage and urban renewal, perhaps something which is very much in the news at the moment is the Urban Renewal Act. And this is something which obviously has been utilized in our neighboring countries quite commonly. It has now been implemented in KL. What is the reaction to this? I know obviously local radio is exposed or sort of highlighting certain sort of pros and cons and public differences of opinion. What are the sort of expected outcomes from DBKL on the urban renewal task force under your KL local plan? This is in specific with this new Urban Renewal Act.
For example, I think the example given by the Prime Minister always in his speech, sleeper list. It's in the 60s, it's only one room, and one room flat, and very run down. And when today's meeting also we talk about that. So, and at the same time, there are also in industrial area, old industrial area, maybe it's not so suitable for that manufacturing, but they want to do now media center or even the new innovations hubs. So we need urban renewal, because why we need to do urban renewal, there are also some incentive in the urban renewal. Because when you want to do redevelopment, then there is also certain incentive for people to come in to invest. So to me, if you look at the overall, the Urban Renewal Act is also needed in a city like in Kuala Lumpur. But how the process of implementation, meaning that when you have I think a lot of issues being brought up, is saying that how many percent of people, the consent of is it you are taking out from their right to the land, or especially the Bumiputera lands and all that. So I think we need more advocacy and explanation and understanding, because I have been to, we have 11 parliament in Kuala Lumpur. I've been to 6 parliament town hall. They call it dialogue, Bandaraya or city dialogue. And I'm going next Saturday to another on the 7th. So I'll go until December. I think what is lacking is the understanding. Because one, you don't understand, and people take it from the media. And the media will spin, oh, you need 75, you need 80, otherwise if you use the Land Acquisition Act, they will acquire your land, you won't get it back, and something like that. So I think overall, the act is needed. Is needed at the moment in order for us to look, because it's done in New York, they've done in other part of the world.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So, but the only thing is that we need to make the people understand, especially those who are staying in the area that we already identified, and they are mainly people, maybe the golden hair, this is above 60, 70, and they don't understand about this, because they say, I want to stay here. If you redevelop, do I have a chance to stay here again? I want to stay next to my neighbor. I already, all that, because they've been there for many, many years. So I think this situation and the worrisome need to be addressed.
Yes, but the biggest challenge is also our EV charging infrastructure, and also to what extent we are electrifying our public transport fleets, buses, taxis, etc. So could you sort of enlighten us on what the program is in terms of public vehicle infrastructure, and also in terms of EV charging infrastructure?
We had a plan. I had a plan. I have a big dream. I hope that I can have a connected green connector. We call it green connector, to connect from one place to another place by walking. That is one, the green mobility. Second is that for Kuala Lumpur, we already have 84 electric bus. We call it Go KL. Go KL bus, which is free for the local, but and then RM1 for the foreigner. Oh, so cheap, huh? RM1 is only 20 cents for foreigner. So this service, they have 36,000 passenger daily. At the same time, we are aiming to have at least 2,000 electric buses by 2030. That is and we want to be at the far front. And in terms of the EV, the government and the private sector, we are working together as a partner. And at the same time, in any new development, may it commercial or may it residential or industry, there will always be one condition in the planning approval that for you to look into the green mobility, at least to provide the EV charging place. So that is in the development order now. So they have to provide that. And then at the same time, we also would like to see not to have, we want to promote public transport. To me, if you have EV cars, yes, you don't use fuel, but you still use electricity. It's good if we have more EV buses instead of EV cars. because maybe one bus you can accommodate maybe at least 20 single occupancy car, and also one bus maybe you can 20 cars, then you can reduce in terms of using the electricity. Where the electricity come from? So it's also it's not so green, you see. So if I am really happy if we can promote public transport, and we are already working together with Ministry of Transport to have a research, some study, how can we do the congestion charge. You know, when you go into a certain area, you have to pay more. So I think this is one area that we would like to need. We hope that we can get it, but now we are working together with Ministry of Transport.
A while ago, there is a control on a Monday detail that planning department has insisted a 5-foot weight in every building. So I don't think that requirement is in place anymore, as I've seen some building, like European building, is cuttable right to the ground. So there's no connectivity between buildings. So even the mandatory perimeter landscape, that will isolate building to building. So perhaps you can revisit that again.
Yeah. And one of the areas that when I took over in August last year, I said that we really need to connect. You know, we have a perimeter landscape. They have also in front of each building. They have also the pavement, but we need to connect it. And so sometime now, of course, we divided the Kuala Lumpur into 11 areas, and we have the plan to connect the main route and then also to the main distributor. I mean, the pavement and also on the secondary distributor. So I think this is important, but of course we have to do it phase by phase. So the main important thing is now, let us make it happen in Heritage Kuala Lumpur area. Make it really seamless. Because at the moment now, we still have,
That 5-foot weight really connects the building.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Any other questions from the floor on this topic?
Like issues with parking, mostly park and ride. Like we had an issue at Glenmary LRT station where there was a trailer that kind of ran through a lot of cars. Those cars were parked illegally, so to a certain extent they had it going for them, but that's also another issue where there's just not enough parking, and there's a lot of public transport. There's a lot of stations where the parking are just one level of open car park, and there's a lot of people trying to park there. I used to park at Glenmary myself. I had to get there before 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. just to get a parking spot. Now I take my bike and I get to Bandaraya by 8, and there's still no parking spots for bikes. So for legal purposes, I'm not allowed to say, I shouldn't say where or how I parked. But do you think increasing the amount of parking spaces might help solve that issue, alleviate it a little bit, or are there any plans to improve and increase parking spaces? Or what are your thoughts on that?
But I think that's why now of course one is the existing situation and also the future. For existing, we will try our best to see how we can improve in terms of provision of car park or also the bicycle. And second, for the future, we also have a policy of transit-oriented development, meaning that we will give more incentive for those who can develop around the traffic, around the transport nodes in order to reduce the commuting, and we hope to get to people to work, live and play within the same area. That is now and the future. But what is existing, yes, we are working together, but as I said, it's integrated because certain areas is not under DBKL at all. Because like for the route of the bus and then for this, the metro and all that is under the Ministry of Transport. But we work together. And that's why now we are having our, in terms of mobility and public parking, we are also looking into the areas next to the traffic, public station or public nodes. Whatever that land available, then we will try to improve it to also to provide more car park and also bicycle park. At the same time, we also working together in the private sector who own the building next to that, so that they can also provide car park for the existing. But if it's very at the transport nodes, we even given them what do you call it, bonus not to provide more car park, because to us, it's like a chicken and eggs, really. To ask people to encourage people to use more public transport. But the only thing is that we need to have an overall planning more integrated. If you are staying here and you are working another place, definitely, if sometime the problem is the first and the last mile. You can have the public transport in the middle, but from my house to go to the station, and from the station to go to the office, that is the problem, not a problem. That's why now we are moving with the maybe cars on demand, just like Grab. We in the BKL, we also provide carpool for our own people. We needed to reduce people to come to the office. So I say that leadership by example. So I actually want to cycle to office. But my security said, no, you don't cycle to office. I like to cycle because I stay in the Bukit Tungku, I can cycle using the ring. But I said, no. But sometime in the afternoon or in the weekend, I did that also. Thank you.
So perhaps I can move on now to more to talk about smart city infrastructure and digital transformation. And I think one of the things you mentioned is actually mapping and the first of all is actually recording what we have and understanding where the issues are. And that same thing is relevant to both understanding and mapping the CO2 emissions for existing buildings, as well as what is the carbon footprint of new buildings that we're creating. Now there's been quite a few people, I think Serena Hijas from HITAS has been actively involved in if you like, carbon mapping of what is the cost or what is the impact of doing adaptive reuse of an existing building versus new buildings. And I think the most important understanding is knowledge. Once we build that knowledge and when we have those systems in place, then we can start to control in a better manner. For example, again, only, I would say, probably 10, 15 years ago, we had no GBI.
Yeah.
We had no tool for ensuring sustainable development. And again, in a very short period of time, that has been implemented. It's now a requirement for DO approvals for all buildings.
Yeah.
So I think the next step is actually, measuring carbon footprint of both new and adaptive reuse development. Is there an agenda under DBKL to start to enforce that? Because it's always, I think, the carrot and the stick. One thing is developers want to be able to show, oh, I have a LEED platinum building, and then the other thing is, what should be required of them, and that's where I think DBKL has a little bit of the enforcement to make sure that these things move.
And when I came in, we already have the Climate Action Plan 2050, we already have the projection and our target. And it's just that I asked my colleague, yes, we have the plan, but where is the implementation plan? We had a policy, but we had the implementation plan. So what we did was that I always believe leadership by example. So we looked at our own building. So how can we retrofit, how can we make our own building more green? And then that's why we identify our building, and we have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 27 building or 31 building that we already identified. We have the plan to make it more greener. by changing to solar, and our public spaces, all the usage of the lights, we use solar. If you look at one public space, a pocket park in front of our headquarters, I insist them to use solar. And now all the lightings at night and also lightings at the toilet and also for the water features, they are all using solar. No grid at all, all using solar. And our building, our headquarters, we also reduce. I cannot remember how much in terms of the kilowatt that and also in terms of the carbon CO2 that we can reduce. And for the policy, when the new development been approved, we include in the condition for renewable energy and also for green building. And if you shows that you are going to implement renewable energy and also green building, we even have some incentive in terms of the reduction of the development charges. You see, we give back to them. So I think that, let's say that if you put your building green, if normal you have to pay development charges maybe, let's say 100,000. But we have a calculation, if you do this, you need to invest, then we reduce in terms of a certain portion of the development charges. So it's like, to encourage more private sector to do that. And then on our side also, we are also changing in terms of this using the AI. If you have a chance, you can go to our Kuala Lumpur command center in Bukit Jalil. We have a very big building. It's where we have 16 AI at the moment now operating in the city center and in Kuala Lumpur, and we have 5,000 CCTV, and we hope to get it another 5,000 more by end of this year. And for example, this AI, 16 AI, one of it is traffic. Last time, you can see that at the traffic junction or at the traffic light, you will see that many people, many police, our traffic police will be there. But now we control from the center. You'll see that if it depends on the density of the traffic, then we can assign from there. I think there's done many places in the world, the green wave, meaning that they can change it, the time and all that. That is one. Another one is also in terms of the pothole. You can look from the AI where are the pothole, and also in terms of we put sensor at the river. And we have around 30 rivers, and we put 20 rivers, 20 hotspot, flooding hotspot, and 30 sensors. And this sensor can, from the AI, they can determine if during it's raining, the river water rise up to a certain danger zone, then you will identify the engineer which take care of that area through the city manager apps. So last time I was told, during the monsoon, the mayor will ask the technician to stand at the flooding hotspot. So there will be 30 people, at the hotspot and calling them, but now no more. And also on the illegal hawkers or parking and something like that. So at the moment now we have 16 AIs helping us to manage the city.
Right. Interestingly, someone was telling me that the impact of people using ChatGPT AI in terms of carbon footprint is also significant.
It's a data center.
Yes, yes. Any questions from the floor in regard to digital transformation and smart city? Yes, Professor.
I'm Dr. Kumar. I'm founder of 18 Rose Global Energy. So I'm very much inspired with your idea that how you are trying to transform this abandoned housing projects into projects that can actually contribute social interest. For example, micro smart city, micro housing projects. So few weeks back, I met with Fadila, our
Datuk Sri Padilla,
Yes,
the Deputy Prime Minister.
Yes, at World Economic Forum.
Okay.
And there we had a discussion regarding how we can transform some of Malaysia's national liabilities into assets. So for that sake, we have created an industry academic council, and we have made Secretary General to KSU, Petra, and for that purpose, we want to take the example of New York, where there is a partnership for a New York City. So that's a public-private philanthropy partnership model, the same like said. So here we also want to create a similar kind of partnership with KL City, and maybe also set up a green REIT fund, and work with KL City. So my question is like in this process, how the private sector will be covered, and what will be the path forward for this?
As a mayor, if people ask, or we need to make decision, if we have to go to the office and look at the file, the hard copy file, and then sometimes the file is not there or it's missing, don't know where is it. Sometimes it's really delaying in making decision. But I want a dashboard, because I'm used to have that when I was Under Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Habitat. Because UN Habitat, the headquarters in Nairobi. We have office in 93 countries, and we have program in 1,600 cities. So if I have no dashboard, how can I monitor the project? That's what it can be done. But it was a consultant who helped us to do that. But we know what we want. But that's why I asked my colleagues, I want that, because I'm so used. Now, like, if I want the information, it's quite difficult to get it there and then, So I think private sector, please, can help us how to convert the figures, the statistic, with the tools that you have to make it into data, with the analysis, and come up with the information. We government, we have a lot of figures, we have a lot of statistics, but I don't think we have data. Because we don't have the tools, we don't use the tool to analyze the figures, to make it into a data, so that we can use that data to make an informed decision. So the tool is from the private sector. Thank you.
Actually, interestingly, we while we're on the topic of sort of managing our let's say, refuse, for example, Malaysia still doesn't appear to have recycling on a significant scale. There's a lot of private initiatives. In everyone's house right now, I'm very sure that there's probably one bin, and it goes into one black bin outside. In every house in the UK, there are 4 collection bins, and they are collected on separate times by separate vehicles. Whether it be garden waste, live waste, food waste, etc. Is that also a plan with the government to start implementing that?
40-20 in 2040. 40-20 in 2040, meaning that we want to reduce the waste by 40% and organic waste by 20% in 2040. So yesterday I launched the zero waste zone. On Sunday, not yesterday, on Sunday, zero waste zone. And as I said, we have 11 parliament. So we identify each parliament to work together with us, and also from the community, the private sector, and the government, to identify one zone in each parliament, and we want to work together with them to turn it into a zero waste zone. It can be done. It can be done. So, because when I was at the UN, we managed to convince the General Assembly. I worked together with the First Lady of Turkey, Emine Erdogan. She is very much on the zero waste. And we managed to convince the member state to recognize every year, 30th of March, as the Global Observance of Zero Waste. And I brought it here. And I think the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, they already have the I think on something in September, 27 September or something like that, clean up day. So waste management in Kuala Lumpur is cost me 260 million a year to manage the waste. So when last August, there are 9,100 participants came to Kuala Lumpur where we had the mayors and ASEAN Mayors and Governors Forum, and around 500 from mayors outside Malaysia. And I asked them, what is your first impression of Kuala Lumpur? Not once, many of them. They said that, Maimuna, Kuala Lumpur is clean and green. Are you sure? Yes, it's clean and green. Sometimes we take for granted about the green. I said, why is it? Why do you think it's green? You have the political garden, you have the Taman Tugu, you have the Dataran Merdeka, you have the Taman Trisakti Wangsa. It's green. You look at. I went up to your top, the top of your building. Then I went for the 360 degree. I see it's on the right is very green. Of course, on the left is built up area. Then I said clean. He said it's clean. Then behind my head, I said, hey, you know how much it's cost me to keep the city clean? It's very clean, yes, but it's cost me 260 million. Friends, 260 million ringgit Malaysia to keep it clean. So if towards zero waste, I keep on talking to the community. If you can reduce the waste generation by half, I will save, just an easy calculation, I will save 130 million. This 130 million, I can pave your road, I can give you more public spaces, maybe improve your public spaces, improve your market, improve your public housing and something like that. But because I want to keep the city clean, and the Prime Minister told me, Maimuna, during this ASEAN, I want TikTok. Not TikTok, but TikTok. So TikTok meaning that's clean, but it's expensive. So to answer your question, yes, due to that, I introduced instead of 3R, I introduced yesterday 4R. One, normally the 3R is reduce, recycle. But I introduced the first R is rethinking. I think we have to rethink whatever that we do. Either you are in terms of the production line, or you are as a consumer, whatever, before you decide to consume, before you decide to produce, before you decide to develop, before you decide to go for your holiday, whatever it is, rethink. What is the consequences of my action? Because that starts from individual. So I said that one of the area that I started yesterday, because we had it at the Hawkers Complex, I said I myself practice eat till finish. Then he said, what do you mean by eat till finish? When the moment you take your food, you put it on your plate, make sure you finish it. Then they said, then I will be very, very fat. I said, who asked you to take full plate? That's why you retain. If you are already not that hungry, then you take maybe a quarter of the plate, but the moment you put the quarter on your plate, you have to finish it. At the end of the day, no waste, no organic waste, because organic waste is very, very expensive because it's by tonnage to dispose it. So yesterday only two things, 4R and eat till finish. So when we had after all the ceremony, then we went for food. They said, hey, eat till finish, eat till finish. Everybody was saying, hey, you have not finished your food. You see, you better eat till finish. Okay, I finish it. So I hope that will be a habit. So at least we will less organic into the dustbin. And we also have one C, one community, one recycling. And what we did was that we collect all the glass. Glass now we are doing it for the road. We already implemented it at City Wangsa. For the plastic, also for the road. And they can, when they brought the recycled material, we give them a coupon. Then we farm together with the many department store and supermarket. They can go to that, and then you can come to our place also to change it to food. Or if they have they can compile it. If they don't need food, they can also use it for our rental. Because for our low-cost housing is only 124 ringgit Malaysia per month. So if they can collect it for 50 coupon, if 50 ringgit, then they will deduct 124 minus 50. So this is also from waste to wealth and at the same time circular economy. So and urban farmings and all that. So if you have time, we can bring you to our local Action 21 program, where there's up to the stage that the Jaya Grocer van came to the, we went to the urban farmers in the B40 area, and then they bought the vegetable and they are very happy. They even sent WhatsApp to me, oh, today I sold this much, today I sold this much on the urban farming, and also on the compostings and all that. So these are the activity area, we call it K2K area. K2K program, community to community program. So if you would like to join us for K2K program, please join us. And at the same time, if you want to adopt this program, you can adopt it. There is also adoption program. If the private sector or the NGO or the philanthropists would like to adopt this program, or to adopt certain open spaces, or to adopt any part of the work that we are doing, then so we have a very clear, transparent guideline for adoption. And one of the areas that I would like to share, I think that Reda is already agreed to adopt botanical garden. Reda is Real Estate Housing Developers Association, so they want to adopt the botanical garden and work together with us. So we make it very clear we are going to sign the agreement soon.
How much would a major campaign, a marketing campaign, to get the core messages across the community about their responsibility for recycling, their responsibility, even, I think with ESG, many offices now of many companies are embracing ESG, and part of that responsibility is not only your actions, but the actions of everyone down the line that supplies to you, that is sort of interacting with your organization. So that the bigger companies like Bermuda, for example, will reach out to all of their suppliers and sub parties to make sure that they are practicing the same good practice as they themselves. Because so I think there's a great movement towards social responsibility, especially among the younger generation. We always talk about the younger generation are making up for the mistakes of those of us that went before, But I think, marketing and messaging is most important. And how do we keep it clear, keep it succinct, so that there's something that they can, I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to practice these three things. I'm never going to take my lunch in a plastic box to work anymore. I'm not going to, or I'm going to bring my own container when I go and get my takeaway food. So we have to start a movement in order for people to be able to say, right, I'm going to embrace this movement.
We are really, I'm really very serious on this waste, because flood is also sometimes due to the waste, because we throw rubbish into the drains and all that. So when you talk about livability, and also at that time when we had the ASEAN Mayors Forum, and also ASEAN Mayors and Governors Capital City meeting, which I chair, you can see that all the 10 capital cities, the first problem that they have is waste. Waste. So I think waste business, I don't know whether any one of you here have any way to reduce waste, how to handle waste. It's very, very big, issues in all the capital city. That's why at the end of the day, our resolution, the top is you want to share the waste generations, waste management best practices of all the 10 ASEAN cities plus Observer Timor-Leste. So it's true, I thought it's only Colombo, but all the 10 capital cities, the first one, I thought maybe they talk about planning, I said no, it's waste. Because it's very down to earth. Now when you talk about planning, it's very visionary, very abstract. But they say that we mayors, we want to keep our city clean, but we have problem. So I think waste is one of the issues.
Anyway, let's move on if we can. We're again moving towards climate resilience and livability. I mean, obviously, we have extremely challenging climate, tropical climate. I mean, last night or yesterday was a spectacular example. Half of my garden was decimated. Climate, flooding, and other risks that we face. How is KL aligning its infrastructure upgrades with sort of resilient strategies? I know that certain specific hotspots, as you say, I think significant improvement as well has occurred. But we see stories in the press of cars floating in car parks and things like that. That, as I say, a lot of that has been addressed. But how does is there a specific program in terms of ensuring that we don't have these kind of flash flood events or these kind of issues that don't occur? They're typically a once in a year or a once in a 3-year occurrence. But obviously, ideally, we don't want them at all because they lead to bad publicity, etc., etc.
What is the hardware? Hardware meaning the infrastructure around the cities. Whether you're talking about retention pond, you're talking about the drainage, and also in terms of maybe the pump houses. So all this infrastructure must be ready and also at any time they are in a good shape. For example, like just it happened that those who are aware of Jalan Shaolin, where there is a yes, Chan Shaolin, where you're going down, it's very, and then if it's raining, that area is used to flood. And at one day, the YP of that area, Wabitan Kawai, came and said, to Bandaraya, you see the floods and all that. But actually, the issues at that time was the electricity, the pump house was tripped. So because of the infrastructure, the maintenance culture and infrastructure, the hardware is not ready, so that's caused a lot of damage to the public properties. So I tackled it one in terms of the infrastructure. I asked my colleague to do the mapping. That's why I know when I came in, there were 30 hotspots. Banjir for flood, 30. Then I said that we want to reduce it to 20. I came in August. I said by end of the year or maybe middle of next year, can we reduce into 20? And now we reduce it into 20. So that 10 places that we did for we improved the infrastructure, and we are happy that at that time. I went to the Prime Minister and Prime Minister, I asked him, can you give me some funding in order to do it? So in 2024, he gave me 20 million, and 2025, they gave me 60 million to do the infrastructure for when you talk about flood, in terms of this. And the second one is in terms of the software. The software is also in terms of this, when the equipment and then the system, and at the same time, also in terms of the behavior of the people, the advocacy in terms of, for example, like don't throw rubbish into the drain. Because I remember when we went for the town hall, they said that the rubbish have no hand, rubbish have no leg, the rubbish has no wing. But how come the rubbish is in the drain? Who are the culprit? Put up your hand. So everyone will put up their hand. Now we are the culprit. So they know that they are the culprit. They are the one who threw the rubbish. So I think this is also one area, because if you look at at the moment now, we have only 20 hotspot, and hope that by end of this year, I challenge ourselves and also my colleague, can we reduce into 10? But it's also, we need to do it into 2 ways, because when we reduce the hotspot flood by 10, meaning that we have to do a lot of work. Cleaning the drain, digging desilting the river, and then instead of doing last time the retention pond, normally we clean up maybe once a month, but now we have twice a month. Yes, we have less flood, but there's more operation cost. So where you see the balance? So I think this is also one of the dilemma that we have. Then at the same time, that's why we are using the technology, because and we are working together. I'm very happy that we are working together with C40. Is on the work of community resilience and implementation plan with C40 and also someone from Zurich to work together. We have some pilot areas to see how can we include technology, innovation, and also behavioral to reduce these climate calamities, especially if in KL there are only two phenomena. I don't want to go to KL. Why? It's traffic jam. When is the time that's not traffic jam? Then another one, oh, I don't want to go to KL because it's flooding. You know, but I told my colleague, this is the phenomenon outside, but can we reduce, can we eliminate this? People can come to KL anytime. No, of course there are, if you go to peak hours, it's congestion, but you go certain month, if of course maybe raining, but no flood. But now, thanks God that you see that yes, it's raining, but it's very much flood now at the moment in Kuala Lumpur. But I have problem with trees. Last night there is no flood, but trees. I think 22 trees, and then also branches fell down. And we have done 140,000 survey of trees, the condition of trees, the roadside trees, and we already do the pruning, and we have an arborist to look at the trees. 40,000 we already taken into take some step, and we are very happy that we received some money from the smart city, from the Minister of Digital. They gave us around 1 million to do the tree mapping and the tree analysis and using the sensor, and we can see how we can use technology to, because the problem of the trees in Kuala Lumpur, I was told at one time we want to green Kuala Lumpur, and we planted instant tree, many instant tree. When you have instant tree, then the root is not really, downturning. So because we want to have a green Kuala Lumpur. So now what we did was that we are now planting a lot of small trees, but it takes longer, but actually it's embedded to the ground. So I think that is one of the finding of the analysis done by the arborist, because it's a lot of instant trees. That's why what happened last night. But we have very good team together with other agencies. I think my colleagues, I was in the office until 12 midnight last night, and my colleagues is clean up. I think by early in the morning you see that the road is already free of all these trees.
I've seen in a very short space of time, in my time here, in the last 30 years, the KL structure plan is now a very robust document that sets out very clearly in terms of plot ratio, in terms of usage, etc. What does, in terms of sort of how public feedback goes into the system when there are when they see projects that for them feel this is beyond the plot ratio approval for that particular area. I was given one question by one of the team. There was a project in Jalan Bukit Pantai, a high-rise project, and from the local public, they believe that this is bringing too much traffic into the area. So what is the process? If you're living in an area, there's a building that you think, but you don't really know because you're a layman. You won't know whether is it part of the approved structure plan or it's not. And then, is there a hotline, or how do they deal with these kind of scenarios where they feel as if something is out of sync with their neighborhood?
So please visit our portal and download our local plan. If you cannot, because it's quite thick, but you at least download the proposal map, the Pantai Cadangan. Then that is where you will see the density plot ratio. And when you come to that, during the preparation, it was started and was informed from 2019 and gazetted 2025. And the process is according to the law, town and country planning. The federal territory planning law, and it's very robust and very inclusive because we have at least 53 engagement and received 38,000 opinions, suggestions and updates. And we have also carried out the hearing committee for all this, and we came up with the final plan. Before being gazetted, we put back to the public for 2 weeks for them to see. But of course, not all the inputs or the comment taken by the Jawatankuasa or by the committee, because the committee is 30 of them, from the private sector, from the academician, from the also from the NGOs and all that. It's very robust committee. And then we put up for 2 weeks before being gazetted on the 28th of May. So one source of information, go and download our local plan. You can, I have it here in terms of the QR, and you can scan and you can download.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do that at the end.
For the local plan. Second is that when there is any development in the area, now we ask the principal submitting person or the developer to have the communication strategy before they build, during the construction and after. They have to submit to us the communication strategy. How can they communicate with the people around them to inform them what are they doing? But of course, in terms of the development into the city, now at the moment now, we really follow the local plan. But of course, there are incentives. If you are doing if your development is under the category of urban renewal, you got certain incentive. If you are doing the affordable housing under the Madani housing, you have a certain calculation incentive. If you amalgamate the small lot into a big lot, then you make it into a proper planning, proper development, you get certain incentive. So these are the three, and if you are near the traffic, near the transit-oriented, near the public transport, then you get certain incentive. So these are really stipulated very clearly in the local plan. So the source is the local plan. So you can visit our portal. You can even download. And then of course, if you are next to you, every development they have to put the signboard. Who are the developer? Who are the architect? Whom to contact if there is any issues on the ground. So these are the, when you talk about the development, of course, before the development being approved, is apart from the local plan, we also ask for the traffic impact assessment, social impact assessment. If there is any, within the category of the Environmental Quality Act, we need the environmental impact assessment. And now after the sinkhole, we need also the geotechnical report for the areas. So these are all the reports and been discussed and analyzed by the different departments, not only the DBKL, not only Komput. Then after that, then we will discuss at the development committee, which chaired by me. And then with all the people, so not only people who say that, oh, the Datuk Bandar is very powerful. I'm not powerful. My power is only within the law and within the local plan. People say, oh, everything done by the Datuk Bandar, by the mayor is very powerful. I even told the member of parliament today in the morning, I said, I'm not powerful. It's all within the law and the act and the gazetted plan.
For me as an architect, I think there's probably some engineers here, but sometimes design leaves lots to be desired. You have exposed PVC, rainwater goods pipes, crude details. My suggestion, and again, one always wary about referring to our neighbours down south, but a lot of their urban infrastructure, they use green vertical landscape. In other words, they just grow creepers, and these things literally ultimately become overtaken with green, which is a very simple solution because everything grows in Malaysia, and it can significantly improve the aesthetics. I mean, of course, I would say the first priority is actually to have architects and engineers working together on infrastructure as opposed to only engineers, because I think we can do better in terms. I mean, we probably built as much elevated infrastructure as we want to build. Now, I'm not encouraging us to build anymore, but I think there's a missed opportunity, I think, in terms of this large-scale urban infrastructure, and I think urban landscape can, to some degree, give us some respite, and it can. Is that something that DBKL can initiate, sort of landscaping our kind of this urban infrastructure? I'm talking about literally all of these elevated highways and byways that are pretty ugly.
You know, when that in term of the what you call it, the calculation of the green, we take into account, because we want to encourage vertical landscaping. You know, so we, if to a certain percentage, we calculate that as part of the green, not part of the open space, but part of the green. Remember, I told you about the renewal green, and then using solar, and part of that green. So I think this is also one area that we are promoting, and at the same time, we encourage them to also plant trees. If they cannot plant trees, they have to plant creepers. So these are a way to camouflage, to tone down and also maybe by planting trees or creepers, they can also reduce the temperature in the city. So that's why we are planting more trees and planting more creepers, and that's why I mentioned in many of I had the opportunity to speak that once the public space is gazetted, no way it can be de-gazetted, because it's already gazetted. So if there is a possibility, is a move to de-gazette it, then you are the people of Warga Kota Kuala Lumpur, you can oppose to it because it's a public space. But sometimes the public misunderstood, meaning that when on the ground is green, they used to play football. They thought that one is a gazetted public space. Sometimes it's a private land which is not used at that time, so the developer the owner allow them to use as a public. So sometimes there is a misunderstanding there. So go back to your question regarding the the elevated highway. If I have my way, I would like to reduce this enough of the how many layers, maybe 3 or 4 layers. So maybe let it be there. Maybe it's a time for us to think and move to another alternative of mobility, public transport. Yeah, instead of building another elevated highways.
I've been quietly informed by the team that we've taken too much of it, but I think if I let you carry on, we will be here until nightfall. So perhaps I can make some very short wrap-up remarks, and thank you sincerely for for contributing today. I think we've covered a lot of topics, from heritage to green mobility, digital transformation, and also sort of resilience and livability. And I'm personally very inspired by both your global perspective, your knowledge and your passion. And I think you remind us that building a sustainable city in Kuala Lumpur is not just about ticking boxes and meeting targets. It's actually creating a city that people actually perceive as being livable and inclusive. And as we're entering Visit Malaysia 2026, these are critical initiatives, and to make sure that we continue to shine on the world stage. So with that, and before I hand over to Nicole, on behalf of Bmcc and our Built Environment Committee, thank you once again, Dato Sri, for sharing your vision with us, and thank you everyone here for engaging so constructively. So may we have a round of applause.
Feel free to reach me if you have any ideas, and I need help. I really need help. How can we have spoken quite a lot just now, but how can we do it? So I really need help. I need your support, And when you mentioned about just now, Malaysia truly Asia, but I want to say that Malaysia truly Asia, but Kuala Lumpur truly Malaysia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. With that, we have come to the end of today's session. Refreshments have been prepared, so do stay for some food and networking. And I wish you a pleasant day ahead.